Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 7 at Santa Anita. It is the Sunshine Millions filly and mare turf sprint. We're going down the hill at about 6.5 furlongs. Let's take a peek at this field. And we've got 8 in here, Mike, with horses in pretty good form, like the 6, Stay and Scam, who's looked pretty good in her last 2 starts. You've got Rose Maddox, who's got plenty of class and is dropping. And then you've got a few speeds, Chancery Way down from Golden Gate, Unwritten Code.
It's a pretty good race, I think, Dan. I get that the 2 and the 6, the 2 morning line favorites, those 2 horses are in really good form. They make a lot of sense in here, but they don't particularly stand out in here. I didn't think anyway. I thought several different horses could really be competitive in here.
Interested in your thoughts on this Timeform US pace projector. The 8 Chancery Way really has one way of going, and that's to the front. Now, her best races have come on either dirt or synthetic. The 4 Unwritten Code likes to be close to the pace as well. She's taking a big step up in class. Does she have the kind of classy speed to stay with Chancery Way, or is Chancery Way going to wrest it away from her?
Yeah, that's the real question of the race, because it feels like Unwritten Code, if she's going to run in here, stretching out from 5 furlongs and going down the hill, she's got one way to win, and that's to go to the early lead in here and see what happens. I don't know if she's good enough to really make a difference in here, Dan, but she's got to be using her speed if she runs here.
A horse that does have good tactical speed and seems pace adaptable is the number 1 Mediha, who scored in her most recent turf try 2-back going down the hill at Santa Anita, and she's had a very nice trip here. She gets to the outside. She beats 2 next out winners, including Stay and Scam. And despite this really good effort, I have a feeling she's going to be a bit under the radar as far as the wagering is concerned.
Yeah, I thought she was one of the interesting horses in this race. This is a good performance in her. She got a good trip in this race, but she runs really well. And this is on the heels of the California Distaff down the hills 3 starts back, and she ran well in that race too. Only second best to Rose Maddox, but that was a good performance. This mare's in good form right now.
After winning the California Distaff, the number 2 Rose Maddox, who was probably the field's best pure closer, tried tougher company in the Senator Ken Maddie on Breeders' Cup weekend, and I thought she ran just fine. She broke from the far outside. She was basically 4 wide all the way around the track, and she was still punching on at the end. Some of these horses might have distance concerns, not so for Rose Maddox, who would really appreciate it if the 4 and the 8 hook up.
Yeah, she could use a little bit of pace, but I don't know if she's totally dependent on it. It would certainly only help her chances, though. I'm sort of with you on the Maddie last time. She ran fine in that race. Didn't get a great trip, and it also just kind of felt like it was maybe a little too tough for her. She was awful good too back, though, winning that California Distaff. 4 of these horses were in that race, and you can go back and pull the replay of it. She took that race over through the stretch without really having to get all in. That was a pretty convincing victory, I thought.
Rose Dawson, the number 3, goes out for the powerhouse Phil D'Amato barn. She earned a stakes placing on dirt last time out, but 2 starts back was the California Distaff, and I wonder if she was sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place from a trip standpoint, because they were going pretty quick early, and she was on a hard chase. And all things considered, I thought she hung in there pretty well for 4th. She has to take a step forward, but she's also tactical, well-connected, and will offer a good price.
Yeah, all those things are true. And that would be the excuse that I would give her, too, for the California Distaff 2-back. I didn't think that she ran that well in there, but she was closer to the pace than everybody else was in there, and that was a closer's race. So maybe that's enough to mitigate that performance, Dan. The more I looked at her, the more I thought she was better on dirt than she is on turf, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Unwritten Code is the number 4. She'll be making her stakes debut in start number 18. Why not? She's won 7 times in her career, including this race going 5/8 against first-level Calbred allowance types. She sat just off the lead. She makes the lead, turning for home, and she's pretty game to win. Now, her buyers have sort of plateaued in the high 70s. She'll have to do a little bit better, but even though she only wins by a head, Mike, I liked how she did this.
I did too. It's actually a pretty good performance here on the turf. And she's another one who I kind of felt like you could look at her and say she's a better dirt horse than a turf horse, but she did run well last time. I'm concerned that she's stretching out from 5 to 6.5 down the hill here. And I'm also concerned that she just might be a little cheap for this kind of a race.
It's fair to wonder, certainly, whether the 5 Chismosa is better on dirt and turf. After all, her most recent start, she won the Grade 3 Las Flores, going 3/4 of a mile. She was a big price in that race, and I think that was sort of a situation where she found the right field. You can understand running for this kind of money against Calbreds, but she has to prove that she's a turf horse.
Yeah, that's very true. I also feel like she's a real wild card in here because they've only run her twice on turf so far, Dan. The first was a grade 3 off the layoff, and they just grabbed her from the gate, took her back to last in a race that was not coming back for her. And she actually made up ground through the stretch. She just had no chance in there. That California Distaff 3-back, she did not get a good trip in that race. And actually, I think ran a lot better than it looks.
So she has the class of the last race in sharp form and might be a bit of a sleeper on turf, and she could get a good setup. Stay and Scam is the number 6. This horse scored last time out. You don't usually see turf sprints going 5/8 being won by open lengths. Well, here's Stay and Scam, who just sat second over, got to the outside with a 3-wide bid. This is an impressive final 3/16 of a mile.
Yeah, really, really impressive. And the race comes back fast, too. All of her turf races are good. She just absolutely smashes this field. When she lost to Mediha 2 starts back, she really ran that day. Just unfortunately for her, she got out behind the winner that day and just couldn't catch her. But she ran in there. I think she's the horse to beat.
With her tactical speed and upside potential, I agree with you. I think she is the horse to beat. Tam's Little Angel, the 7, Chancery Way, the 8. They're going to be coming down from Golden Gate after competing in the Bear Fan Stakes. Tam's Little Angel has run well on turf in her career, but most of the damage has been done on synthetic.
Yeah, another horse who I kind of feel like you could make the argument that she's better on the other surfaces. So we'll see what happens. She certainly has figures that say she's a contender, and she's going to be a price.
She was 4th in this race last year after falling far behind. I wouldn't be surprised if she's falling behind early again. Joel Rosario picks up the mount. Maybe Tam's Little Angel can run late and spice up your single race exotics at the very least. Chancery Way is good on dirt. Chancery Way is good on synthetic. How good is Chancery Way on turf? It's the one surface she hasn't won on, but she's run pretty well considering the race 3 starts back to Solana Beach might have been a little bit too far for her. Here's the Bear Fan last time out, a race she's won now for 2 consecutive years. She went to the front. I thought she carved out a pretty legitimate pace, 22-2, 22-4, and she's just too good for them in the final 8th.
Yeah, pretty good on all 3 surfaces. I mean, no wins on turf yet, but she's run pretty well on this surface. She's got speed from the outside, Dan. 6.5 furlongs, I don't think is supposed to be that big an issue for her. We'll see how fast this pace gets, because that could really be an issue for her. She's not impossible in here, but I preferred others.
Let's take a look at our top selections for this race. I am going to go with Chancery Way. I am concerned that she's a need the lead type, and if someone tries to deny her, maybe she just all of a sudden shrinks and the turtle's head goes into the shell. But Chancery Way's quick. And I think she's going to make the lead in here. I'm hoping she can get a little bit of a breather. You're going Rose Maddox. She's got plenty of class, and at least you know she'll be running late.
Yeah, she should run late in here. I just overall like her form maybe a little bit more than the others in this race then. But again, it's a wide open race, and I didn't have too many arguments with some of the bigger prices in here. I went 2-6 when all was said and done, but there are plenty of options.
2-6 for Mike. Chancery Way for me. We both think the 6 is the horse to beat in the Sunshine Millions Filly and Mare Turf Sprint on Saturday at Santa Anita. Good luck.